they continued the same pattern. So, which means maybe when they were married, they had multiple lot of girlfriends, like girlfriends, not like I don't know if it's dating, but that they talked to, and the wife wasn't comfortable with that. And then they kept that. They did not really say, okay, because of my wife, I'm going to cut down on the amount of friends that I have. But they felt like the woman needed to adjust to the fact that he has multiple friends. Hi everyone, my name is Evelyn, and welcome to another episode of Decoding Dating. I'm a matchmaker, and I'm also the founder of Love Circle, a dating single club. And I'm so excited to be here with you. And I'm also here with.
My name is Adam Melnick. I'm a licensed coach with the International Coaching Federation and owner of Seeding the Lead. Evelyn, what are we going to be talking about today?
Very interesting topic, as I'll tell you. So it's about cheating. We are exploring the world of cheating, and the cheating has done so much harm and destroyed so many homes. And I think we need to actually talk about it and see how different people handles it, like the different type of cheating. And we're just going to talk about everything cheating today. So I'm really excited about it, and I'm just going to ask you, Adam, to start. For you, what do you think cheating is? No.
Oh my God. So it's funny you talk about this. I was recently watching a video and they were talking about cheating and the different types of cheating, which started baffling me because one person's saying, well, if a man looks at pornography, that's cheating. I was like, wait, what? I don't think that's cheating. But then I've also heard things like, well, if she talks to another man, that's cheating. And personally, I don't think that's cheating. When I think of cheating, I think of a romantic relationship between somebody who is not your partner. Like you are intentionally, maybe you're having sexual intercourse with this person, but it's pursuing a romantic kind of interest in a partner. That makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. That's a way to look at it. Yeah, that's cheating too. But you mentioned when you're watching porn, for example, you said you don't consider that as cheating. I think it's cheating when maybe you and your partner have a conversation around pornography, and you have a stand about not watching it behind each other's back, something like that. Because a lot of people that are more like addicted to pornography, for example, it does harm the relationship, and where you're constantly comparing your partner to meet to that videos, and you so it's a lot of, it could be cheating depending on how you look at it. I think it's the constant, like, are you hiding the fact that you're watching pornography? Are they aware? Are you watching it together? Do they agree? How do they see without, like, if she comes in seeing you watching pornography, how do you think she would react? Would she be angry, or would she just be okay with it? So yeah, it depends on your partner and your agreement and your communication around pornography. That is when it's cheating or not. But if you guys watch pornography like anything, no, that's not a problem, then it's not really cheating. So it depends.
Well, and I think that's the key point, though, is you would have to have that conversation. And for example, what I found with cheating is it's weirdly enough, it's kind of individualized because many people have different definitions of what cheating is, which gets frustrating because when I've worked with clients before, they're like, well, my partner cheated on me. And I've had to start asking the question of what does that mean? Because we all think we know what cheating means. However, when I've gotten into the weeds of it with many individuals, it's like what I consider cheating is not necessarily what you consider cheating. And when it comes to that pornography, it's okay, you had that conversation and you said that that was cheating and you did not want to have that happen. And both parties agreed into it and said this is a mutual thing that we're okay with. It's like, okay, sure, that's cheating. However, sometimes it's like that conversation never happened. And
Mm.
then one partner finds out that the other partner is looking at the opposite sex and they're like, oh, that's cheating. It's like, well, not really.
Mm. Mm. I think some things are like you said, it depends on how you look at it with pornography. That I think I see cheating more of kind of broken agreement. A broken agreement must be there is an agreement on ground. There's an agreement already. So when you break that agreement, that is cheating. So for example, let's say you are hiding, you're sending, you're hiding, you're very secretive around things, around your text, around your call, you go pick your call outside. That is a reason why you do it. That could be, emotional cheating, you're flirting DMs and stuff like that, that could actually lead to a potential relationship or sex in the long run, or something could happen and so you're creating an environment to lead to cheating, to lead to actually you breaking that agreement with your partner. So I see that as cheating, regardless of how you say it. Some partners do they are allowed to have open relationship, right? And that's an agreement that they have. So when she goes out and meets with other people, that's not cheating to her partner because that's an agreement that they have. But to somebody else, that is cheating, right? So I think it depends on the agreement that you have with your partner. It's not like a universal rule to it. It's more like you and your partner, you've discussed it, you've talked about it, you have an agreement. We don't do this, we don't talk like this, we do not relate like this. And when you do that against that agreement, then that is regarded as cheating.
Well, and I would agree with that. It is an agreement between the parties. And what I see a lot of is when people talk about monogamous relationships. I mean, one thing about monogamy is its current iteration is just one person at a time, as opposed to one person for life. And when we look at a monogamous relationship, there's almost like this unspoken agreement of you will not have a romantic relationship with another person outside of me. You will not have sex with another person outside of me. We will work at this together.
Mhm.
And I see a lot when people talk about cheating, one of the common things I typically hear is they slept with somebody else and they knew that this would hurt me, and I'm not okay with it because this is a breaking of that contract, that unspoken agreement in a monogamous relationship of, hey, we are exclusive to each other, and now, like, how can I trust you? And there's that trust factor in that kind of conversation.
Yeah, yeah. I think that when that trust is broken, it's actually very hard to fix it. Yeah, and I think it's very important that you and your partner actually have the conversation around cheating and what it means to you. You guys have an agreement, because I feel like a lot of people just have the assumption, they don't talk about it, but they assume that you shouldn't do this, you should know not to do those things. But it's very important that you talk. And what does exclusive mean to you guys? Like, you need to really talk about, does it mean that is it just in terms of sex, or is it in terms of who you communicate with? Are you saying you can only communicate with me, in a flirty or romantic way, or is it just that you can have sex with me only, but then you can always have other people that you talk to? So it's like that clear conversation actually helps a lot. And then so when that person breaks that agreement, then you can take the necessary action with confidence, with boldness, right? But when the other party, I know there's some things that is good and bad, right? But I would say it's very important to talk about it, and even talk about their stand when it comes to it. Like, some people don't see cheating as anything, but they know that in a marriage, but they feel like it's a struggle that they have. But I think it's important to communicate that struggle with your partner. This is me. Then you guys can work around it, and then you can ask yourself, is this something I can deal with? I think, yeah.
Well, you have to have the kind of conversation because I remember working with a client and he said, he goes, Adam, my girlfriend is crazy. She's saying that I'm cheating. And at the end of the day, I liked a woman's post on Instagram. Like, what? And it was that conversation of like, okay, what does she classify as cheating? And interestingly, when we got into this conversation with him, it turns out that the girlfriend was very controlling because
Mm,
she had some trauma that needed to be healed because she had been cheated on in the past.
mm.
Like, and so she was trying to control him to prevent him from cheating, which is don't do that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I think it's very I could understand that, she'd gone through this issue from the past, and that's why she's reacting that way. I think a lot of healing is required in that. And also, for example, I don't see liking someone's post as cheating, to be frank with you. I don't see why I shouldn't like somebody's post because he's a guy. I feel like that is double standard to be like, why would I only like girls' posts? So I feel like I could see a guy and I could like his post I could like it for many reasons. Maybe I love the decor of the house, just something, what is talked about. There's so many things that might. So now it depends. Now, so now, if you're watching a video of a naked girl shaking her butt or whatever, then that is something that she has the right to be upset about. You know what I'm saying? But if it's just no a normal mess, a normal post of a girl just doing her thing and you liked it, that's not cheating. That could be some type of insecurity, like say control.
Mhm.
Um, and it goes back to talking about what cheating means to you guys. And then as a man, if you feel like I can't even talk to a girl or I can't even like someone else's post and you can't live with that, then that's not your person. Go find someone else that is a bit relaxed and she understands. She knows who she is and she trusts you, and she's even, yeah, I think it's very important to
Well,
just.
exactly, because so I found a very interesting discussion about cheating, and what they found was they were talking to some women, and they were down in Japan, and they were talking about, hey, like, would you sleep with a stranger? Would you cuddle with a stranger? And a lot of the women are like, oh yeah, and they say, is this cheating? And they say no. At the end of the day, we are committed to a long-term relationship, and this is just helping us get over our carnal pleasures or the pleasures of the body, and he's allowed to go sleep with other people, but they have to come back to me. Like, we are married. Cheating is when you try to get into a relationship while we're still in a relationship. But if you're going to go cuddle somebody, like, knock yourself out. And it was so interesting because a lot of these people had side pieces, and
I
it was
think
okay.
I heard that about Japan. It's interesting that a lot of them have sites. Oh my god! Like I said, it is as long as if it's the norm and it's an agreement between both of you, and cuddling with a stranger is not regarded as cheating, then fine. It doesn't mean that everybody has to agree, because some people might see that as, oh, that's crazy, I can't share my woman with anybody else. But it all depends on both of you and what you guys allow. Now when you do that, when you go against that, then that is why that is wrong, that is not good. I know that there's some culture that views cheating as only physical intimacy, right? So what do you think about that?
Well, for myself, I think it's kind of pursuing it. There's there's degrees to it. And so it's like if you're chatting with somebody else, if you're just chatting, I don't think that's a relationship ender at that point. I think the relationship can still come back, as opposed to if you slept with another party. If you slept with that party, okay, now we got to talk. We got to talk brass tacks. Like
Yes.
there's a serious breach in trust going on.
Mm.
But like the truth is that your partner is going to get flirted with out in the real world. They might also flirt with somebody else. Like, I'm sorry, this is just the reality of long-term dating. If you're going to date somebody for like 40, 50 years, like it's going to happen.
Yeah, it's gonna happen somehow.
But the thing is they have to choose you. They have to see the other option and say, "Sure, cool, but I am choosing you, not that other person."
Yeah, I think I would say So it's very good to don't put yourself in positions that you cannot undo. Like if you start flirting with someone, it grows into something else. So it's not just it's you choosing the person and you also respecting them, right? It's not. I feel like, for example, let's say you're dating a girl and you have multiple other girls that you're talking to, and you want her to feel special because I chose you, type of thing. It also talks about so it's not, it's like, okay, how much do you respect your woman? Because that's, I think that what pains a lot of people is not just the cheating act itself, it's the lies and the shame that comes with it, is the disrespect, and the fact that you dishonored our bed, or she feels special when she owes you. Now, knowing that she's not the only one holding on to you, there's other women also that enjoys that. For a man, I mean, men go crazy when their women is even cheating, and like it's just that sex is very how do I say it? It's more than just sex. It's spiritual. It's deeper than that. And you sharing that union with somebody else, it's a breach. So I would say, yeah. So it's like the respect your partner, and if you are, there's gonna be other beautiful women and beautiful men and handsome men out there. That's a fact. You can look and move. Now, if I have to go to a party and a guy and I have a man, and the guy comes to me and I know his intention, that's a fact. He might come that, oh, I want to be your friend, but the intention is he wants to get to know you, date you, or whatever, sleep with you, whatever. I'm not going to give him that chance. Basically, I'll let him know this is my stand, and I'll, because I'm like, if I know myself, I'm like, he's very handsome. If I give this guy a chance, there's a possibility that I might cheat on my boyfriend. So I avoid those kind of thing out of respect for yourself first and your partner.
Well, see, I think it's a little bit more complicated than that because when we get into why people cheat, like it's easy to say just turn away and say I'm not interested. But when I look at why people cheat, it's usually for a lack of something. Maybe a lack of intimacy, maybe a lack of self-respect. It's almost like they're wanting something, maybe a romantic connection, maybe they want the forbidden love of, oh, there's the pool boy, I can never have the pool boy, but that's what makes it kind of spicy and sexy. Or I've always been the good person, I've always been monogamous, and now I want to explore that like naughty side of me, which is,
Mm.
it is what it is. You shouldn't do it because like you're gambling at that point and you're risking it all.
Yeah.
But it's
Is
when,
that
when
human nature? They want to do crazy stuff. Right? And that's it. Like when you see a lot of couples, long-term couples, 50 years, they've gone through different things and different temptations. And but it's like a guy said, regardless of what happens between me and my woman, we always choose each other. We always do that. So sometimes is that commitment to each other. Now there's gonna be temptation, there's gonna be crazy things, but it's different now. I think in our mother's days, like old days, there were more marriages that actually lasted and go through a lot of stuff and they're still together. But now it's different because the tolerance level is pretty high, it's pretty low right now. And people cannot just tolerate. And I will not say tolerate cheating, please. It is very it takes a lot from you as a woman or as a man to have to deal with a partner that cheats, if not even cheat once, but consistently cheats on you. That's total disrespect. Now it's gotten to a point where people are becoming very independent and they can say, okay, I can actually live my life and be happy and not have to tolerate something like this. So it's depending on your own personal decision on how you want to handle it. Um, but yeah, it is what it is. But there's no perfect partner, right?
well, no, and like again, they're going to go out in the world, they are going to get hit on. And so I was talking with a girl that I'm dating, and I said, at the end of the day, I trust you. I don't need to check in with you because I trust you. Because if you're going to cheat, you're going to cheat. There's no amount of what I can do to ever stop that. And just like there's nothing you can do to stop me from cheating if I want to do that. It's
Yeah,
just
very
how
true.
it is. And that's where it comes down to relationships are built on trust, like fundamental trust. And when somebody cheats on you, it is a break of that trust. And the question becomes like, can I even trust you again? That's a damn good question to start asking if you're in that situation.
Yeah. So would you say, like I heard people say, okay, if he cheats once, he's going to cheat again. Do you agree with that?
No, that's not true. I mean, that's black and white thinking. So it's like saying somebody stole, they're going to steal it. Once a thief, always a thief. Once a cheater, always a cheater. It's like, that's not true. People change. I know a psychiatrist that he's in a long term relationship with his wife. He cheated on her and he owned up to it. He apologizes. It's this massive guilt. He talks about it quite openly. He says, I will never do this again. Uh, it was truly awful. And it's almost like a stain that he wears like consistently. He's not proud of it, but it's something that he has to live with.
Mm.
And I look at him and he hasn't done it. His wife, he's in a loving relationship with his wife. They've worked it out and they had to work it out over many years. Like this was a major breach of trust that they had to work on, but they were able to do it.
Yeah, I think it depends on the reaction. For example, it came out, he kind of talked about it without having to find out. So that's one thing, right? Like it came, it talked about it, like, oh, this is what I did without having to find like a text message or something. One is very apologetic, is, is making all these different actions to prove to her that I would never do it again. There are situations where a woman will catch or would find her husband cheating or her boyfriend cheating, and there's no remorse. Is screaming, is lying, doing all those things. Most of the times, those type of men end up cheating again. But most of the men that come out and they confess, they talk about it, they acknowledge that action, and they might even, you can acknowledge, but also say, babe, this is why what I was doing, this is why I felt the way I felt. You guys can actually work on fixing the marriage together. She would want to, in a way, because she did not have to dig that information out. You came out with it, and she seeing the effort that you're putting every single day to regain that trust. Unlike someone that, those kind of men that don't, they're not remorseful about it, that they argue about it, they tend to even hide it more. So you're not finding out, maybe because they're just hiding it better. So I would say in those two cases, it is, if I would say, better to forgive regardless, but the action and how they want to show it, prove it to you that, okay, this is it, we're not doing this anymore, I'm going to focus on my marriage. You have to see that action, and you have to see that they are very remorseful about it. They feel bad about that action, like, it's out of character type
Yeah.
of thing.
And again, it's that intent behind it. Kind of determines if they're going to do it again, and only time will tell. I remember working with a girl and her husband had cheated on her, and the questions that I needed to ask her was, one, can you forgive them? Like, can you forgive them? If the answer is no, like, the relationship's not going to work out. But if the answer is yes, I can forgive them, the next question you have to ask is, can you learn to trust them? And it doesn't matter what they do. Like, they could commit to you 100%. They could be there for you every step of the way. They could never, ever cheat on you again. But if you can never learn to trust them again, the relationship's over. Like, it doesn't matter. And those are really the questions you have to ask yourself. And sometimes the answer to that is just simply time. It's like,
Mhm.
can I learn to trust again? It's like many times in the moment, people are like, no. But then a week goes by, 2 weeks, and I'm like, okay, I think I could learn to trust again.
Mhm.
It's like, okay, I think the relationship can be saved.
Yeah. I think, like you said, it's not, most of those questions you cannot really find an answer immediately. I remember a lady asking a friend, she was like, if you find out that your man is cheating, can you forgive? And the friend was like, "No, I can. Yeah, I can do. Yes, if he's doing other things right, yes, I can forgive and all that." It's until it happens to you first. So the thing is, so many answers, like when it happens at the moment, is all emotion, and you cannot really determine how you would feel in the next few months or whatever. Now, when it comes to forgiveness, is a process. It takes time to really get to that point where you can forgive. And when it comes to trust, it takes time as well because they have to show you that they are trustworthy. You cannot build trust with someone that is still the same person and is still doing craziness because you want to. No, you can't work. The man has to. One, you have to be open minded, but also he has to prove to you that he has to gain back that trust, because if he's still that crazy person, you cannot grow that trust in that environment.
Well,
Then
and it
that's,
comes
yeah, it takes
look
time.
exactly, and it comes back to that idea that trust is never given; it is earned.
It's hard, exactly.
Like even with your friends, like you didn't learn or you didn't just trust your friends; they earned that trust. And it's the same thing with your lover. You didn't trust that person when you first met them. Why should you? They earned it, and they have to earn it back.
Yeah, you have to. It's pretty tough. Very tough, but it's just part of it. Um, yeah. So I think we talked about. So why do you think? I know there's so many reasons why people cheat. Um, some people it's just out of character, like it's just something that they've gotten so used to and so addicted to that they can't just break out of it. Like it takes therapy, it takes
Yeah.
a lot of work to get them to that point where they see that, okay, they see their value. And because some of them is tied to trauma and all of stuff that leads to that. Some people is just lack that they're experiencing currently in their life, maybe in their relationship, and that actually led them to. So from a man perspective, what would you say a man would cheat?
Well, I'll just say why people cheat in general, because women also cheat. I see when I talk to women about cheating, they justify it with like he's not fulfilling my needs, and it's like cool, understandable. However, it's usually an internal thing more than just that. And so when I look at individuals and why they cheat, one of them is just mental health issues. I knew a girl that the reason why she cheated on her partners was because in her mind, a stable relationship was too scary. Like
Mm,
she got into a stable relationship with a man and then is like, this is boring. I need drama. I need to spice it up. And so
yeah.
she would like subconsciously start flirting with guys and then cheat. And but that's the thing. Sometimes people aren't used to a stable, healthy relationship. And
Mm,
it's scary because they have emotional wounds or trauma going on that's like keeping them from just staying monogamous. It's like the guy who's always cheating. It's like if you're meeting a guy and he's cheated in every single one of his relationships, there's something going on under the hood. The question is what and what is he doing about it?
yeah, I think I know of someone who cheated, and then marriage kind of ended and all that issue. But then they continued the same pattern. So, which means maybe when they were married, they had multiple lot of girlfriends, like girlfriends, not like, I don't know if it's dating, but that they talked to, and the wife wasn't comfortable with that. And then they kept that. They did not really say, okay, because of my wife, I'm going to cut down on the amount of friends that I have. But they felt like the woman needed to adjust to the fact that he has multiple friends, not him adjusting to keep his relationship in marriage. There's some things that you have to do in marriage just to make each other happy, not because you are okay with it, but you're looking at the long term, not just now. So if your partner would say, I don't like you talking to that girl, why? Because she makes me feel some certain way. I think that she's flirting with you. Now, she's a woman, she could see it. But you're a man, you may not just, you just relax. A lot of women could see things even before, because she's speaking from a woman perspective. And she tells you that And you'd be like, she's my friend from this, she's that, da 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 da. And then one thing happens and you guys end up sleeping with each other, right? And but it's the point of some things you have to sacrifice for your partner happiness, or for your happiness together. And if you did the same thing, your marriage ended and you continue that pattern, hoping that the girlfriend would have to put up with that and she has to accept, that is some really, really weird stuff.
Yeah.
There's a higher chance that the person will cheat on you again if you guys end up getting married or while you're even dating.
Well, exactly. It's like you have to kind of take these things into account because, again, some people have very interesting views on relationships, and this is something you should be aware of. Like, if they're going to have multiple partners and you have to be okay with that, then the question is, are you okay with that? But I know when it comes down to cheating and why they cheat, it's usually along the lines of something's missing internally. And I have known men who the reason why they got or they cheated was because they got preyed upon by another person. So their relationship wasn't going so well. And then a woman intentionally wanted them. And what they did was they came up and they were that sympathetic ear to them. And what
Yeah.
they needed was somebody to talk to, somebody to vent with. And what they were unaware of was this person had more sinister intent and kind of steered the things down a certain way. And they were just unaware. And again, you said it perfectly. She's looking at these women going, hey, that woman's flirting with you. And he's like, no, I don't see it. But I also see the opposite where guys are like, that guy's flirting with you. And the girl's like, no, he's just not. He's being friendly. I'm like, sometimes as the opposite sex, we can see what's going on a lot easier than the party that's is happening to.
Yeah. I think it's important to know your weaknesses, right? Like, if you're someone that you're if a woman, for example, you know that if I go to my I'm not talk I don't I want to go break up with my boyfriend, and you feel like, oh, I want to go to his house to break up with him, and you know that because of the way you love the guy, the way you feel about him, it's gonna be hard to break up, right? Because you see him and want to talk and want to hug and want to do other things, right? So what happen? You try to look for other alternative to break up. The same thing with if you know that you're weak around some certain type of women, you need to avoid situations that will bring both you and that type together. You have to be intentional about it, because it is just something that is a weakness of yours. Like, you have to really work on that intentionally to avoid situation that will put you in that temptation, that space that will make you want to cheat, or at least try or attempt to cheat. So that understanding of oneself is important.
I would argue that like that's your shield. Like if you want to keep yourself from cheating, you have to know who you are fundamentally. And it's like this girl I was telling you about who loves chaos because she's never been in a healthy relationship before because it's boring. But if she knows that about herself, then all of a sudden she can then go, okay, I need help. Maybe I need to start talking to my partner about this. And I need to put stop gaps in place to keep me from getting to that point of a romantic relationship with somebody. And it's like, cool. If you are lonely, if you are struggling with that emotional connection, you need to be aware of it because I guarantee you there's going to be nefarious people out there that are going to try to use that to maybe get a relationship with you or to drive a wedge between you and your partner. Like, this is what's going to happen. I've seen it happen. And that's when you're like, okay, I know who I am. I know this is what I need. And that's where you have to open up the dialogue with your partner and be like, hey, this is what's going on. Let's talk about that.
And I think it's get to that point where you're actually talking with your partner about your struggles and your weakness. It has to be the right partner, because there are situations where you're very vulnerable to your with your partner, and they use that against you, even to their advantage. So it's important to actually have the right partner to be able to share those moments with, that you know that they are there to protect you, not to expose you. So that's really, really important. And also, like you said, self awareness is so important. Understand that this is the pattern that I have. This is something I've seen that has always happened for me. If you're not used to a healthy, stable environment, you want to notice that pattern, because you cheating is one way to deal with it. Like, to get yourself into that chaotic. There are other ways that you would also do that. You could be that maybe you just create some type of argument out of nowhere or whatever. It's very important that you're intentional about the fact that I want to ensure that I fix this thing, and take and track that. It's like, okay, I'm going to make sure that the next 1 month I'm not going to come up with any issue, or I'm going to make sure that next 1 month I don't go to the beer, like to the bar, just to, so I don't get tempted. So just these guards and boundaries that you have to set in place to ensure that those patterns don't keep repeating itself again.
Well, it's funny you say that because I knew a woman. She used to cheat all the time, and she recognized that when she went out partying, she would get drunk, and when she
Mhm.
got drunk, she would flirt, and then when she flirted, she would be taken home. And she recognized this pattern. She created the self-awareness to say, okay, this is what's happening. And she intentionally said, you know what? I don't drink anymore. I am completely sober. I don't drink because at the end of the day, my relationship is more important than having fun and this partying. Because, like, I know what happens at the end of this road. I go home with some guy and my relationship's over the next day. I don't
Yeah.
need that.
Yeah, and that's a good one, because you could see how you kind of explain that it's always one action to the next leading to that. So if you're able to be truthful with yourself, because the thing is, knowing oneself is big. Is that's from one success already, that you know that this is what I do, and this is something I can put in place just to avoid doing that. So that we could solve a lot of problem just like that. So if it is, it's not for you to feel sad and bad about your life, or we are all working on something, but in different ways and different areas of our lives. But it's very good to sit down and think about us, our lives and ourselves, our actions, and create ways to be better, to improve. If you don't like chaos, why don't you like chaos? And why do you like chaos? And is that what you want? Do you want a chaotic future for yourself, or do you really desire that nurturing relationship? So what do you need to do to create that life that you want for yourself, and commit?
Well, exactly. The sad part I see a lot of, however, is no one really gets they don't there's many individuals that they don't get to this point of self-realization of going, "Oh, what did I do? How have I left myself open to that?" When I talk to individuals that have cheated in the past, they often blame the other party. Like, oh, he wasn't giving me what I wanted. He wasn't affectionate enough. He wasn't romantic enough. And I've heard this from the guys, oh, she wasn't doing this for me. She wasn't doing that. It's like them. They
Yeah.
were the problem. They're the reason I cheated. It's like, cool. However, it was your actions.
Mm-hmm.
You have to, if you want to keep this from happening again, you have to look internally and say, what happened within me that caused this line of events? And unfortunately, I'm seeing a lot of individuals that they're just kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Not neglecting, but omitting their role in all of it. They just say, I wasn't at fault here. The other person drove me to cheat. It's like, that's not how this works.
I think it's so, yeah, I think I hear that a lot, where like you're constantly blaming the other person. Yes, it's your actions, but also it's an intentional act. It takes you taking off your clothes and all that. It's an intentional act. I know you could be under the influence or alcohol or whatever, and that's why, like I said, knowing the kind of person that you are, knowing your weaknesses, avoid those type of things that would lead you to doing those type of mistakes and making those kind of mistakes. But there is no way. It's really wrong when you're constantly blaming somebody else. Like you said, there's the acknowledgement. That's what I said, and that's why I said the acknowledgement is very important, because that tells me if you're going to do it again or not. you could acknowledge and try to, but also we can work on that missing piece in our relationship, because there are bad relationships that could also, so you're trying to find peace and you're trying to just find that, you know s- that could lead someone to cheat. But it's an action that you took. You could have easily just left the relationship maybe before you actually do that. So that's why, regardless, you cannot blame somebody else for that action.
Well, and
um
I love that you said that because it's like, yeah, you could have left if you were so unhappy with the relationship. Why didn't you leave?
yeah, just leave.
If if you had a problem in the relationship, why didn't you talk about it? Like you decided not to go down those routes and you went down this route. Like there was an active choice.
Yeah, I think cheating is a very complicated. I think I have seen. Okay, so like sometimes for different culture, right? They see it differently. I've seen like some group of, let's say, Africans, and they feel like they get so mad that why would she want to leave me because I cheated? Like, I don't love that person. It's just a one time thing. Men can sleep with multiple women and not really have that emotional connection with them. And I don't know why you guys, girls, don't women don't get that. And I'm like, what an excuse, right? I hear that a lot.
Mhm. Well, and again, when I talked about that culture where the partners cheated, it's like, well, it's not really cheating because there's no emotional connection. And that's how they're labeling it. It's like,
Yes.
if there's no emotional connection, it's not cheating, which is why some guys, for example, used to go to the strip clubs. It's like, it's not cheating. I don't love these women. I don't, I look like looking at them, but I'm not interested in dating them. So this is not cheating. And it's like, that's where you get into the conversation of like, what is cheating? Like, be very clear.
I think it's just how it makes them feel good. Just, sometimes you try to justify your actions and it makes you sleep at night saying that. Because the question is, ask yourself, if your woman, like, if your woman is okay with you going to the strip club, fine. If she's not, because some women, men even go, they go with their women to those places. So if she's okay with that, or she even know you're there, it's not there, it's okay. To somebody else, it might be crazy, like, oh my god, why is he doing that? But like, it depends on both of you. And yeah, so it's very complicated, but I think it depends on both people, what kind of arrangement do they have, and how they're able to work around it. And not every some people are also very tolerant, right? They would give you few chances before they be like, the constant disrespect, that's it. I would say not every situations like that cheating leads to divorce or separation, but is a commitment to say, oh, babe, I'm sorry, I'm going to do everything that it takes. And then that is what giving a chance, not for someone that lies constantly and constantly disrespects you.
Well, and I think you touched on something very important. There's that respect aspect. And I remember listening to a woman and she was talking about women and cheating. And she was advising men, if a woman cheats on you, you need to dump her and walk away. And the reason for that is because she doesn't respect you at all. If she doesn't respect you, she's going to do it again. And there is that question that you have to ask yourself, it's like, does the other person respect me? If the answer is no, and you'll figure this out in time, it's like trust. I have to learn how to trust, but they have to respect me. And you're
Mm-hmm.
going to figure out if they respect you or not because they're going to show it in their actions. Which I guess a question kind of percolating in my mind is there's a lot of individuals that they stick around in relationships where their partner is a cheater. And I've heard different reasons for why they stick around. There's one gentleman, his girlfriend was cheating on him. She cheated on him like 4 or 5 times. It was pretty bad. And in talking with him, he said, the reason I stay is because she's so hot. I would
Mm.
never find another woman better.
Wow, what's the low standard?
Right? It's like there's that self worth, there's that confidence issue going there, there's self esteem issues going on there. Like that's
Really
complicated.
terrible.
I was just kind of curious on your side of the world, what are you what do you see in regards with individuals that are like sticking around in relationships that they're just not working?
I think sometimes, like most cases, like depending, it's finance. If the man is the main breadwinner and they know that they can't really by themselves handle the bills or start their life over again by themselves, yes, they might stick with that relationship or maybe take some time to come up with a plan to actually exit. Sometimes it's like low self esteem to the core. Um, some people they grow up seeing their parents do the same thing, right? And some people are not lucky to even have people in their life that can guide them. And sometimes you might end up going to your mom and say, okay, this is what I'm going through. And I'll be like, oh yeah, that was like that, this, da. So, you end up um just putting up with it. So sometimes low self-esteem. You don't think you deserve better. And you feel like that's the best you can have. And if you feel some people are even scared if I leave them, then somebody else will come take over. So is that low self-esteem is a key factor. Finance is a key factor as well. And not having healthy support around you. If everybody around you are living similar type of relationship relationship, but they're into that type of relationship, or they have one or two. Yeah, there's nothing, you're not seeing anything different, right?
Well, I love what you say. It's that lack of self-esteem, but also that lack of just social connections,
Mm,
and it's that self-worth issue. And like it's interesting that you see that, because I've seen it as well. Even with this gentleman, it's like there's that lack of self-esteem, but also he lacked the social supports and the social circle for his bros to be like, hey, what the hell are you doing? Like,
mm,
you need to dump her ass. Like,
mm,
what do you mean she's still with you? And he never really had that push out the door to kind of start moving on from her so that he could start a healthier relationship. I
mm.
find that almost kind of sad in a way.
Yeah, it's very sad. Some is also religion. There's some religion that do not permit divorce. So rather they will just stick there. For some other people to me, they may be unhappy in their marriage, and because religion wise they cannot divorce, so they rather cheat and cheat and cheat, and just so that they stay in that relationship, right? Or marriage, I would say. So yeah, it's unfortunate, but the thing is, some people they don't understand that it's better for you to be single. People are scared to be single. Like it's just that the loneliness and the sadness that come with being single for some people because they don't even have a life. Some people build their life around their partner, and they cannot separate those two, like separate themselves from their partner. And I think they don't have that. Their cup is empty, like they don't have a life. And they would wonder, "Ah, if I have to, I'd rather be here. If I have to leave and start over again, like what am I going to do? What will I do with my life or whatever?" And that's what a lot of people focus on. They talk about self love and building yourself from the ground up and figuring out those things that make you happy and build that life that you seek for, that you want for yourself. And then you cannot bring a man or a woman to add on to that. Not that they are your everything. And that's why they tend to be controlling because that is all they have. That's how they value. That's how they see their value.
Well, and I love that you say, at the end of the day, there's that fear aspect of it. And you have to learn to self love yourself and see your own value. Um, because you're absolutely right. It is better to be alone in those relationships than constantly be disrespected. And you have to jump into the unknown. And I know it's scary. Like, trust me, I get it. I've been there, done that. It's scary. However, in that process of jumping into the unknown, unlimited personal growth and potential happens. And the person that you become when you exit that side is going to be completely different and is going to be a much more beautiful whole person than the individual that made that leap.
Yeah. And the thing is, it takes time. I think we need to understand it takes a lot of time before you even recover. and that's fine. Sometimes it could take you 1 year, 2 years. And some people try to make it look like, oh, I left it and I'm glowing. Sometimes it takes a lot of time to adjust and build yourself up. And the timing is different for different people. So that understanding helps. So knowing that, oh, it's not going to be easy to start, but it gets better. It gets better.
Yeah, take it slow. It is a slow like the healing process. If you've been cheated on, it is a healing process, and sometimes the wounds don't go away. It's learning to work with them. I
Uh-huh.
knew I knew a woman that got cheated on, and she built up a story inside of her, which was all men are dogs, all men cheat. And this was a story. It wasn't true. Some men cheat, yes, not all men. That's a gross generalization. And what she had to do in her learning process is learn to minimize the story. Like the story never really went away. However, she learned to minimize it and learned to trust one man. And that was the man that she ended up falling in love with. And the issue with her was if she didn't kind of re-edit this story, if she didn't remove it, she would never trust a man, which would mean ultimately, if you have no trust in a relationship, you don't have a relationship. But she just had to learn to just re-trust men. That's all it was.
Yeah, and I think yeah, that's really good actually. Found a map, and also good to know that she actually found love. You know, I think a lot of people also say that because they feel like they do not deserve a man that is faithful to them, and that is the way to just that is what helps them to move forward. Basically, it's like is that guy saying that he doesn't deserve if you can never find a girl as beautiful as that lady. So let him just keep enduring the disrespect. The same with her. She feels like she doesn't deserve, like she cannot find a man that will be faithful to her. So that's a narrative in her head is just to make her feel okay. Like, she just is that's like all men cheat, yeah. So okay, this guy might probably cheat on me too. So
Yeah.
that's it's just that feeling like you do not deserve better, or you do not deserve a guy that would commit to just you. And it's like I said, it's good that she was able to minimize that noise and be able to give herself again to love and trustfully.
Well, I love that you said that because I've seen that version of the story play out many times, which is my partner cheated on me. To rationalize what happened, I created a story that said, well, of course they cheated on me. I would cheat on me. I'm a loser. I'm a nobody. Like I deserve to be cheated on. And they create that almost this like weird expectation in their head to justify the pain and to kind of process it. But it's a story. It's a lie. It's helping you cope with the trauma, but it's not true. And you have to learn that it's not true to move on to a better relationship.
I agree, actually. I agree with that. So yeah, I think it comes, and that's why it comes with self-love. It's self-love, self-acceptance, self-acceptance in terms of this is me right now. This is who I am. This is my strength. This is my weakness. And then work around it. Build that strength and work around, work on yourself. Work self-love is important because when you truly, truly love yourself, there's so many things that you will not accept. There's so many things. And unfortunately, some people are not born into a family that they saw that love and respect, but you have to sometimes unlearn some bad habits and learn new ones. It's hard, it's crazy out there, but one day at a time, and you find the love that you deserve. Or some people are lucky to find someone that helps them and hold their hands and grow with them. Some people, they can't, it's just you would have to wait to be, oh, not self-love is a process, but you have to take some time off for some people until you are very confident that okay, now I can, it's about you, is instead it's like now I can show love in the most healthy form. And that
Yeah, it takes time. And even if you're an individual that has cheated, like I worked with somebody who cheated, and the level of guilt that they had, the level of shame that they had with it was intense. And they also created a little narrative in their head, which is, I don't deserve love because I'm always going to be a cheater. And it wasn't true. And there's that version of self love, a version of forgiveness that had to happen, and a version of healing that they had to go through. And it's the same thing when I talk with individuals that have been cheated on. It's like, you know what? They often think, oh, I was the problem. It's like, well, no, you had a part to play in this. However, ultimately, they were the ones that chose to do that.
Yeah.
And you, there's a level of forgiveness that you have to do for yourself and to the other party to move on, and then just grow from it and just heal. To take time.
Yeah. Yeah. I think both ways, cheated on or the cheating partner, cheating person, it all takes, as like I said, as long as it's accountability, you guys are, and you are intentional about becoming a better person for your partner and building that trust again, there's growth, there's healing. But as long as you keep giving excuses to, like, oh, when I cheated was the best time of my life, but I know it's not good, it's kind of giving excuse around you, there's actually chance that you need a lot of healing, and you need, because if you might, you would definitely, the chances of you repeating that pattern again would be high. So yeah, it's that intentionality. Like, do I want to be a better person? Do I want to build a better relationship? Do I want to build a beautiful family? And then if that is your intention, then work towards that.
I love it. It all comes down to intention. And you
Mhm.
know what? Even if you cheated or the other person cheated, and ultimately the relationship doesn't work out, so be it. Still learn the lessons and work to strive to make the next relationship even better.
Yeah,
That's all you can do.
that's it. That's it. It's no manual. It's just one step at a time, and you get it. You get it. Okay, is there one last point that you want to leave for our viewers? Maybe they find themselves in that same position.
Well, in regards to cheating, it's a difficult process. Don't go into it alone. If you're dealing with a spouse that's cheating or you're having these feelings, I would recommend reaching out to somebody and chit-chatting with them and working through this, because oftentimes when we do go at it alone, we don't see the full picture of what's going on, and this is where we start developing these stories that we're telling ourselves. So I know, for example, if you're struggling in the dating world, you can reach out to Evelyn or myself. Our information is down in the description, and we're more than happy to help you out.
Yeah, thank you, Adam. And you actually said that. You said every great things, and I don't even have anything to add to it. So I want to say thank you, everyone, for joining us today for this wonderful episode. And we can't wait to see what you have to say. Feel free to leave a comment, like, share, and yeah, let's continue to explore love and relationship together.